Okay, good morning. Once again, this is Marianne Maduro with the Miami Foundation. During this webinar today, I'll be walking you through the process of creating a profile for your organization on Blackbaud Nonprofit Central. I would like to take this opportunity to remind you that profiles created on the system will be viewable by the public year-round on our website. This enables philanthropists in our community to learn about the work that organizations are doing and give directly to any organization registered through its profile. While we currently have not set any requirements on which fields will need to be completed, we encourage you to create robust profiles that tell the story of the work you do and help potential donors make informed decisions. With me today is Janelle Kaplan. Janelle, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning. I will be here on the webinar as well because there are a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of people on the call. All your phones have been muted. Please do feel free to submit questions, and I will attempt to respond to as many as possible. If I see that questions are going to be answered during the webinar, I will not respond directly. I'd also like to request that all questions during the webinar be related to the function of Blackbaud Nonprofit Central. If you have any other questions regarding Give Miami Day or any other program of the Foundation, please feel free to reach us at our office after the webinar.
Okay, now let's get started. So on my main screen, you'll see the Miami Foundation's website, and you'll see a tab across the top that says Nonprofits. This is really the screen that you'll be using most. So you can click on Nonprofits, and when we talk about the Nonprofit Toolkit, I want to just start by showing you where that is, because I actually have in front of me our guidebook, which I'll be using following step by step throughout this webinar today. So organizations could click on Nonprofit Login, and here you could click to register. You could access the guidebook, and you could also access the Give Miami Toolkit. I just want to open that screen to show it to you. We encourage you to come here regularly to the Nonprofit Toolkit. We have our nonprofit training sessions listed. After each session, we'll post either the slides or the recording of the webinar, and any information that you need to know about Give Miami Day can be accessed here. So now we'll begin with creating your Blackbaud Nonprofit Central profile. So on the nonprofit login page, there's a link that you could click to start registering your organization. And this is, if you're following along with your guidebook, I'm on page 1 of your guidebook. So first I'm going to be prompted to enter the EIN number for my organization. I'm going to be creating the profile for the Miami Foundation with all of you on the line. So I've entered my EIN number and click search. And you'll see that the Miami Foundation appears in the results tab. If for some reason you enter your EIN number and your organization does not appear, there's a couple of reasons that could be happening. If you're a national organization, your EIN number might have already been used by one of your affiliates throughout the country. If you're a fiscal sponsor of the foundation, you should go ahead and contact Casey Dax, and she could walk you through this process. Otherwise, send us an email at info@miamifoundation.org, and we could figure out what's going on and help guide you through the process. For most of you, your name should appear down here, and you could go ahead and click register. So I'll now be prompted to begin entering information about myself. This is the personal information that you enter here should be the contact that will be responsible for updating your profile. You could only enter one person here, so make sure that this is someone who is reachable and who will be responsible for updating your profile. So we recommend that you do not use an info@ email address here, because any updates that we need to send to you will be sent to this email address here. And I'm going to go ahead and create the username for the foundation. I'm going to set it as Miami. You'll see a note below that says 12844 will be automatically appended to your username. So whatever you enter here, the 12844 will be added to your username. You'll receive a confirmation after this step, but I just wanted to point that out here for you. And then you could create your password. A lot of you, when you've lost your passwords and we've reset them for you, we've set the same password as capital PASSWORD 1. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do right now. Once you're in your systems logged in, you could change your password, but we're just going to do that right now to make it easy. And then my organization information you'll see appears below. This is pulled automatically from GuideStar, so your address should be here. If you need to make any changes, go ahead and do so. And now I'm going to list the phone number for the foundation. Here, if you'd like to, you could list your info email address. I'm going to go ahead and just enter my own so that I could access the email. The confirmation email wasn't sent to me in a few minutes. Our website. Oops. The major classification and minor classification comes directly from GuideStar. This is how our organization is registered in GuideStar. You could go ahead and change it if you want to, but that should be your organization, how it's classified. Then I'm going to go ahead and enter my organization's mission statement here. It's an abridged version of our mission statement. And click Submit. And I'll be taken to a screen with the Nonprofit Central Participation Agreement. I encourage you to read through that, and once you're done, click Accept. So now let me know if any questions have come in. Okay, so I'll be brought to a screen that says that my registration has now been submitted. Your profile has been submitted. You'll receive an email from the Miami Foundation within the hour confirming your registration and providing you with a link to complete your profile. If you do not receive the confirmation email, please check your spam folder. A lot of you have called and said we haven't received the email, and for the most part it's going into your spam folder. So please just check in your spam folders for an email from info@miamifoundation.org. It usually does not take an hour. I'm hoping it doesn't take an hour right now because I want to show you what that email looks like.
Sorry, Marianne. I know that some of you are having issues signing in. If you look on the chat portion, I've provided a new login for the audio component of the call. I'll repeat it over the phone right now. It's 702-489-0035. The access code is 245-076-519, and the audio pin is 15. You can see this information listed as well in the chat component of the control panel.
Thank you, Janelle. Okay, so then I'll go back to showing my screen. Okay, so here's the email that I received from the system. Dear Marianne Maduro, thank you for taking the time to register your organization with Give Miami. This is very important that I mention this piece here. This link has to be clicked on within 5 days of receipt of this email. If you do not click on this link within 5 days of receiving the email, you'll have to begin the process all over again. Your username will be deleted from the system, and you'll have to start the process all over again. So just make sure you access it, hopefully on the same day. And you'll see here, my username, as you saw, I entered it as Miami, so 12844 has been added. And once again, we encourage you to email info@miamifoundation.org if you have any questions. And you could also view, again, the Nonprofit Central Participation Agreement here if you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and click on the email to complete my registration. And you can see my account has now been activated. And I'll be redirected shortly, hopefully, to the next screen, which will allow me to start logging in. So we're back on the first screen that we started on. This is our nonprofit login screen. And now I can go ahead and log in and start editing my profile. So now we're still hearing from people that they're having issues?
Not anymore, but just to answer one of the questions we received, if you registered last year, all you have to do is log in, and the information that you provided last year is still in your profile. So if you have any new information that you want to enter, please do so, but you do not have to re-enter any of the fields that you submitted last year.
Thank you. And in a little bit, I'll show you how to look on your profile and see if it's active and approved. So I've been taken to a screen that tells me now I can update my profile, and it gives me step-by-step instructions. I want to point out the first step says Open Internet Explorer. Unfortunately, as some of you already encountered, Blackbaud Nonprofit Central only works on Internet Explorer. So this means if you're using a Mac, you unfortunately will not be able to log into the system. If that's the case, please let us know. Some of you have come here and used our computers. We're happy to schedule some time for you on one of our computers if you do not have access to a PC. But please make sure that you're logging in using Internet Explorer. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Internet Explorer now. And basically this takes us now to page 2 of the guidebook. So if you already had a username and password created from last year, you can just start on page 2 of the guidebook. So I've already set my home screen to Blackbaud Nonprofit Central. This is what it will look like for you when you enter the URL into the web address and go ahead and click Start the Application. If you receive an error message here telling you that something needs to be downloaded, make sure you're like 99%. I'm pretty much sure that you're not on Internet Explorer. If you're on Internet Explorer, you should not receive any screen telling you to download anything. So now you see this little box appear down here. This is Blackbaud. I'm going to go ahead and access it and enter my username and password. If you have any issues with your password or it doesn't work, send us an email once again at info@miamifoundation.org. If you don't log in for a certain amount of time, your password may become deactivated, so we'll need to reactivate it for you. I'm not sure. I'm having a little system error here. I'm not sure we're having any kind of internet problem. But let me try once again. Yeah. Sorry, y'all. Sometimes it takes a little longer than others, so if you bear with us.
I just got a great question. If you registered last year, are you still registered for this year? Yes. If you've completed a profile, you are registered to participate. But if you go into your profile and you start making any changes, add any fields, you're going to have to resubmit. On the left-hand side of the panel, there's going to be an option that says Submit for Approval. Click on that button and we'll approve your profile.
Thank you, Janelle. Okay, we're in. So now we are on page 3 of the guidebook. So this is what you'll see when you log in for the first time. This is what we call your home screen. If you want to change your password because we created your generic password one, you can go ahead and come up to Tools, Change Password, And you could go ahead and enter your old password and your new password there. I'm just going to go ahead and keep the one that we created. So now we're going to click on Organization Search button. Sorry, and I know someone asked us to slow down a bit, so I apologize, and let us know if we're moving too fast, and we're happy to do that. And again, I just want to remind you that this will be recorded, so we will have it online.
We did receive another question. Is it okay to use Google Chrome instead of Internet Explorer? Unfortunately, the software is only compatible with Internet Explorer. As Marianne mentioned, if you have an issue and you are not able to log on to a PC, please come to our office, give us a call. We're happy to assist. Now, I know there are some Apple users that can download Internet Explorer. It still will not work. It needs to be on a PC using the Internet Explorer browser.
Okay, so I've clicked on the Organization Search button. You do not need to enter anything here to find yourself. You're just going to click on the Search button on the right with the little binoculars, and your organization name will appear in the Results tab down here. Give it a second. So now you could double click on your organization name. And here is our profile. Now, you can make this your home screen so that from this point on, whenever you log into your profile, you log directly into your organization's profile. You can do that by clicking on Favorites, Set Home Screen, Set Home Page, sorry. Use the current page, which right now is the Miami Foundation, and click OK. So from this point on, whenever you log into the system, you're going to come straight into your organization, and you don't need to complete the previous steps. So now we're moving on to page 4, which is navigating your profile. I'm going to start by creating our general organizational details, which is this section up here. So under the tab, click on Edit Organization Details. You can enter here your year incorporated, in our case, 1967. A lot of you wanted to know how you could have your logos on your profiles, and you could do that right here where it says Image. You're going to choose a file. I went ahead and saved mine to my desktop so that it would be easy. And you'll see my logo appears there. If you want to make any edits to your address, you can go ahead and do that here. If you want to enter a fax number, you can do that here. As you see, my email address is here because that's what we entered when we started creating the profile. My website is here. If you have a volunteer URL, you can enter it here. If you have a URL that goes straight to a donation page on your side, you can go ahead and enter that here as well. When you're done with these details, go ahead and click Save.
So we had a question come in. When does the profile need to be approved by? We encourage you to submit your profile prior to November 4th, because if there is a question that we have, we'll be able to reach out to you. But in order for you to make sure that you're registered for Give Miami Day, it needs to be submitted by November 4th, and we will approve them after the fact. But get them in early so that you know you'll get an email confirmation letting you know that your profile has been approved.
And that's 4 p.m. on November 4th. I just want to make sure that you note that time as well. And the reason for that is we have a turnaround time to get that information built onto the website for participating in Give Miami Day. So on page 5 of your guidebook, you're going to find some frequently asked questions. Most of the questions that you have for us will all be on this page. So your organization name, as it appears here, is pulled automatically from the GuideStar. If you have an alias you want to use, you can go ahead and enter that here. So So some of you have, called us and said, I can't find my organization. I've been looking for the Miami Foundation and I can't find it. And it might be because I entered it as, I'm searching for TMF because that's what we use. So you're only going to be searchable by the aliases that you create here. So if you want to do that, you can go ahead and hit Add. Select the type of alias that you're adding, which is it an acronym or is it doing business as, and enter whatever the other name you're known as. And I know some of you are just known by acronyms of your organization. So here's where you could do that, and you could also set it as the primary way your name appears. Another question a lot of you ask is about the tax status up on the right-hand corner. Some of you will notice that your tax will read as 509A2, 509A3, a couple other things other than 501c3. These are all subsections of the 501c3 tax status. You cannot change this. This is the way your organization is registered with the IRS. So I do want you to know that this is not visible to the public, so no one will see what that tax status subsection is. But if yours says something other than 501c3, it's just a subsection. It's fine. And there's nothing that we can do to edit that. A little while ago, I mentioned that when you're logged in, you can see what status your profile is in. And you'll see right here on the left-hand side of my profile that it says in progress. Once I submit my profile to the foundation for review, this will say processing, I believe, or in process, pending, I'm sorry. Once the foundation has approved it, which could take 5 to 7 days, it'll say approved. So if you ever are wondering what the status of your profile is, you could go ahead and look at that here. You can also, a lot of you have asked, I participated last year, I created a profile already, am I already registered? You can also look on our website and search for your organization, because if it's been approved, it's automatically live on our website. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start working on the programs and management tabs, which are these that you see below. So this is where you could enter all the information about your programs and how your organization is managed. So I'm going to move on to page 7 of the guidebook. The first tab that you'll see is the Statements tab. Now, just so you know, all of these tabs work very similar. And you click, if you want to edit any of the features in any of these tabs, you just click on the tab, and there'll be Add and Edit buttons on the right of the screen. So my mission statement is already here because as we enter that in the beginning, I'm going to go ahead and show you that mission statement just as we entered it. If I wanted to make any edits to it, I can go ahead and do that here as well. And all I did was double click on it. But you could also use the Edit button and it'll do the same thing. If I want to add any other statements, I can click on Add here on the right side of the screen. These are the different statements that you can add here. You could include an impact statement, a need statement, a background statement, a statement from your CEO and executive director, or a statement from your board chair or president. So some of you already have these. Some of you can use this as an opportunity to, you might be saying, oh, we've always wanted to create a background statement and never done that. So this is your chance to create it and share it with the community. I'm not going to be creating one of these for us right now, but it works the same way as the mission statement. Click on any of them. Type it in and click Save. Moving on to the Management tab. So this is your management capacity. This is your opportunity to tell potential donors or people interested in your organization about how you manage. How many full-time staff members do you have? How many part-time staff members do you have? What's your staff retention rate? How many contractors do you use, or how many volunteers do you use annually? And again, this is just to provide additional information about your organization and how you manage. In order to edit these fields, you click on the Edit on the right, just like in the Statements tab. And you could enter all that information right here. About the policies and procedures, all it asks you is yes, no, or under development. So if you want to let people know that, yes, your organization does have a written management succession or training plan, go ahead and do that here, or that you're working on one. It's a good opportunity to let people know how your organization is structured and what kind of policies you have in place. You can enter whether your CEO or executive director is formally evaluated. If you click yes, I just want to point out, you will need to enter the frequency. Otherwise, you will not be able to save. You'll receive an error message saying that there's a required field missing. If you click no, obviously it's just fine, and you don't need to enter anything in the frequency. You go ahead and save everything that you entered here. And now we'll move on to the Staff tab. In the Staff tab, you could enter all of your staff members. Last year, we recommended that you only enter your ED here to make it easier on you all. We gave you the option to just upload a full staff list under the Documentation tab, which we'll get to eventually. But some of you actually wanted to list them here, and that's just fine. It works great. It shows up nicely on your profile, so you can go ahead and do that here. We definitely recommend that you at least, if you don't register anyone, if you don't include any other names under your staff tab, that you at least list your president, executive director, CEO. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. You can see that my name is here because I'm the one that created our profile. So right now I'm the only name that appears. But I'm going to go ahead and add our president and CEO. I'm sorry, our system seems to be moving a little slow today. Do you have a question, Janelle?
Well, I keep on getting some comments about where is this book that Marianne keeps on referring to. It is on our website. You can visit www.miamifoundation.org/nonprofit toolkit. And you can view all the information about upcoming trainings and helpful hints. So the webinar will be uploaded and posted on that page as well.
Thank you, Janelle. And again, it's called our guidebook. And everything that I'm doing here is it's even more detailed in the guidebook. It's step-by-step instructions. So now, in order to add a new staff member, I have to add a new person to our system. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the binoculars. And I already know that Javier is not in our system yet, so I have to come down here and add him. You'll see there's there's a long list of titles to choose. Some of you have been pretty funny and creative with the titles that you've selected for yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and use Mr. for Javier. I'm going to select that he's a male. I'm going to select to use our organization address because he works out of our offices. You can enter a phone number here. You can enter an email address here. It's up to you all, again, how much you enter. I think the more people know about you, the more comfortable they feel with your organization. And you could even enter a summary of experience if you want here. And some of you don't remember exact dates, and that's okay. We've had a lot of you ask us, what if I don't remember an exact date? That's okay. You can go ahead and enter an approximate date. I'm going to go ahead and enter, actually I think I could just type in July 2009. There's no end date. And his title is and I'm going to change his role to CEO, Executive Director, and click Save. Now I just want to let you all know that we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here in the office. Janelle was sitting next to me with her computer answering questions, and her computer just started reconfiguring. So if we're a little delayed in responding to some questions, please bear with us. Okay, so now you see Javier appears below, and you could go ahead and continue to add as many staff members as you want to add here. And you'll see that his name now appears in your organizational details. So this will appear on your main page site automatically. If you enter a CEO or Executive Director, it'll appear up top here on the right. Only the President and CEO here will. Now we'll move on to the Board tab. I know I see some questions coming in, and Janelle will be able to she's about to log back in, so she'll be able to get to them in a few minutes. Please bear with us. So here's your Board tab. A lot of you had questions about this last year. A lot of you asked, why are we being asked to enter our demographics of our Board? And all these details about the Board. And our answer is simple. I mean, it matters. It helps people feel more comfortable knowing the makeup of your Board, knowing how many of your Board members attend meetings, whether they contribute dollars themselves, what are their term limits and term lengths. Again, it's up to you how much information you want to include. We recommend that you at least include, if nothing else, at least add your the chairman of your Board here. But if you want to edit any of this information here, you could do so by clicking on the Edit tab. And you could enter here all your Board demographics. We recommend that you just enter numbers, not percentages. Some of you had questions about that last year. I think you could just enter how many females, how many males, and break down the demographic. It's up to you how you do it. Here on this side, you'll see that you'll be asked percentages. So it's up to you how you want to enter it, and if you want to enter it. Again, I recommend that you enter as much information as you can. So, and I'm going to go ahead and add our Board chair as well. So down here where it says Board members, you could click on Add. And again, just like when I added Javier, Michael Marquez is not in our system. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the little binoculars. And then click on Add. So our Board chair's last name is Marquez. First name is Michael. Mr. And I'm not going to enter contact information for him right now, but you can go ahead and enter that here as well and save. So now we have our Board member here. And I'll put a start date of January 2013 and enter Board chair. Here we go. And you could select that in the role as well and click Save. So now our Board chair has appeared on the upper right-hand corner of our organization information as well. Now we're going to move on to the Programs tab. If all you enter in your profile is your President and CEO and your Board chair, I would say your programs are probably, other than that, the most important piece of your profile. This is where you can share with potential donors, where you can share with the community the programs and the functions of the programs of your organization, so that if someone is interested in learning more about what children's programs you offer, what arts programs you offer, how you're helping animals in the community, whatever that might be. They could learn about your organization through the programs that you list here.
So I'm getting back online right now, and I'll start answering your questions.
Okay, and I'm sorry, please bear with me. I have to go ahead and give Janelle access again. Okay. Back on? Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and add one program here so that you can see the process of how you enter a program, and then click Add. And I will enter our Engaged Youth program. So you could choose the category and subcategory for any of your programs. So Engaged Youth is a youth development program, so I'm going to select that. And I can select the subcategory too, and what we're doing is youth leadership. We don't have a way to edit the categories that appear here. These categories all come with the system. Some of you have called and said, well, we kind of fall into two categories. It's up to you to decide which category most closely aligns with the program that you're entering. So you can also enter beneficiaries of your program. You'll notice when you visit our website and try to search for an organization that people can search by beneficiaries. So if I don't know what organization I want to support, but I want to see what organization is supporting children in our community, I could search by that. So there's a drop-down list that'll show different beneficiaries. You can select, actually, give me a second because, yeah, you can select at least one, but you can select a few. So I want people to be able to find this program if they're looking for youth or adolescents, which is 14 to 19 years old. And I also want them to be able to find me if they're looking for, let's say, children 5 to 14 years old. So now I've entered two different categories of beneficiaries that they'll be able to find this program by. Here's where you can enter your program description. Although I've encouraged you the whole webinar to be robust, also be concise. I mean, you could just, in a few sentences, explain what the program is about. You don't need to list all the details of your programs. They can go to your website and learn more details. But just enter the main goal of the program, or the primary, the priorities of the program. So which brings me to priority, which is the next step here. If you're going to enter more than one program, you can list them by priorities. So you can let people know in order the priority of the program to your organization. You don't need to enter that. You can leave that blank. And you could also enter your budget. So if I want to let people know that it's Engaged Youth costs us $100,000 a year to manage or run, I can go ahead and enter that budget number here. That's not the exact number. I just kind of made that up. But you can go ahead and enter that there if you want to. And hit save. Sorry. So you won't be able to save unless you enter, if you click on the Outcomes tab as well up top. So you'll be asked, do you have formalized outcomes for this program? Yes or no? So what are outcomes? Do you have long-term success? What does long-term success mean for you? What does short-term success mean for you? How are you going to monitor the success? And what will be your evidence of success? You could enter that here. It's up to you, once again, whether you choose to include that. I'm sure that funders feel a lot more comfortable knowing that organizations have thought through what success means for them through these different programs. I'm going to go ahead and click no here right now just to not have to enter these while we're on the webinar, and hit save. So you'll see right here our first program appeared. If I ever want to go back and make changes to that program, I can go ahead and click on it, go to Program, and make any edits that I need to do. Do you have a question, Janelle? Okay, so that's it for the Programs tab. And then finally, we have the Documentation tab. As I already mentioned, you can go ahead and upload your board list here or your staff list here. If you'd rather do it like this and enter all the names individually, that's up to you. And you can do so by clicking on the Add button, just like in all the other tabs, and click on Attachment. You'll be prompted to select what kind of attachment you're adding. And these are the different types of attachments you could add. This is a standard list. Again, we can't edit this. So is it an advancement document? Do you want to upload your annual report, your board list? You could select that here. So any of these you can select. Or you can select other if it doesn't fall into this category. You can select who it's viewable by. I would suggest that you always keep it as general public. Choose your file and upload it. Something else I want to point out here on this screen is some of you have asked if you could upload videos or any other kind of media, and you can do that here as well. So here's your media link. What kind of media do you want to upload? Is it an image or video? Who do you want it to be viewable by? And you could go ahead and use the media URL to do that. So now we've made it through all the Programs and Management tabs. There's one more area on your profiles that I want to share with you, and that's the Financials. This is your general financial information that you can go ahead and edit. What's your projected revenue for this year? What's your projected expenses? Do you have an endowment? Are you in a capital campaign right now? Do you have tax credits available? So you can go ahead and enter all that information here. And it's very similar to all the other tabs. You just click Edit and go ahead and enter that there. I want to take you to the 5-year summary tab. You'll see here that our total revenue and total expenses are automatically listed. This information is pulled directly from GuideStar. We're not able to edit this part. It comes directly from GuideStar. You do have the opportunity, however, to list your revenue by source for each of these years. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that now. If you click on the Fiscal Years tab, you could select any of the years that you want to edit. So I'm going to go ahead and click on 2010 just to show you an example of how you can do this. So once you click on the year, click on Go to Fiscal Year. And here we go. So now I'm in the 2010 fiscal year. If I click on Values, here's where I could enter expenses by type. I can click on Revenue Breakdown and list a breakdown of our revenue. You could go ahead, you could edit that just like you can edit any of the other screens by choosing the Edit button. And finally, we have our funding sources as well. We do recommend that each organization list at least your top 3 funding sources. It shows people who are interested in your organization that you're receiving other kind of support and who's supporting you. So we do recommend it, and it's listing your donors, which I'm sure donors appreciate as well. So you can go ahead, or your funding sources can be an event. That's okay as well. But just I would recommend that you list at least 3 of your top funding sources. So that completes all the fields that you could potentially update and edit within your profile. Once you've completed all these fields and you've gone ahead and gone back and looked over it one more time, you're ready to submit your profile for review. So some of you have emailed me and asked, is my profile complete? I've already entered everything, but you've forgotten the final step, which is submit for review. And you'll see right here under the task, on the left-hand side of my screen, you can submit. You're going to accept the participation agreement. You could send a note with that if you want to. And now you'll see that my status has changed to pending review. So at this point, the foundation will be notified that a profile has been submitted for review, and it can take us 5 to 7 business days. Fortunately, we've been a little faster this year, so we've been able to get back to you sooner. And once we review, we will either approve it or send it back to you for revisions. And you'll receive notification by email either way. Because we don't have any requirements set for this year, we're not sending back for revisions asking you to add any additional fields. We also want to point out that we're not editing these for you. So there's a typo in your profile. It's going to appear on our website because we will not be editing individual profiles. So please make sure that you proofread before you submit. Or once you see your profile on our website, if you notice any typos or if you want to make any changes, you could always log back in and make those changes. The only reason that we are sending back to some organizations right now is some of you are South Florida organizations or Florida-wide or national organizations. And if that's the case, we are requiring that you do enter at least one program that is outlining the work that you're doing specific to Miami. Because once again, we are really only making this system accessible to organizations who are working to improve the lives of Miamians. So Janelle, are there any questions coming in?
Yes, we have one. So one of you have asked, can you print the report before submitting it? And unfortunately, Blackbaud Nonprofit Central does not give you the ability to print a report. So we suggest you going in and reviewing that information by field. And as Marianne mentioned, once that information is put on the website, you can go about reviewing it there.
I'm going to show you what the organization profile report looks like. And that's a good question. Thank you for asking that. Obviously, I'm working a little slow. So my report is being generated, and I could show what fields I want to include in that report. So this is, and you can save it here and print it, but it's not something that's editable. But you could get all your information like this. And once you want to go back to your main screen, you could always go back home.
Another question that was asked was about the aliases. So as you can see, looking at the page right now, you can see what our legal name is and what we want to be listed as on the site for Give Miami Day. Please, please, please keep in mind that what your legal name is might not be what you want to be searched as. Many times someone will have an acronym instead of what their actual organization is referred to as. And so maybe you're sending out email communication to all of your donors saying, you know, please give a gift to the Miami Foundation. But unfortunately on your profile, you're still registered as TMF. So unless donors are looking for you as TMF, you're not going to be found.
That's a great reminder, Janelle, and I actually missed a very important piece of this first tab, of the General tab. At the bottom of this page, you'll see that there's an area for search phrases. So if an organization is trying to look, is trying to search for you, or they don't really know who they want to support, but they want to just look up animals or whatever it is, whatever their interest is. You can go ahead and add search phrases here, and you can add up to 30 search phrases. So I want people who are interested in philanthropy to be able to find us. So I'm going to add philanthropy. I want people who are interested in leadership to be able to find us, so I'll go ahead and add that as well. So you could add up to 30 phrases here, so that any organization just searching by interest, any potential donor searching by interest can find your organization based on the search phrases that you've entered for yourself here. And also for your NTEE code, which is your major and minor classification, this, as I mentioned earlier, this is pulled automatically from GuideStar. This is how your organization is entered with the IRS. But if you want to edit that, you can go ahead and do that right here as well. And you can select your major and minor category. We cannot edit the list of major and minor categories. These categories are set by the IRS. So these are the different categories that they have for organizations to be registered under. So if you want to go ahead and do that, you're welcome to do that here as well.
Another great question we received is, does Miami mean the city of Miami or Miami-Dade County? So you are able to participate in Give Miami-Dade if your organization or program is supporting Miami-Dade County.
Yes, good question. We have about 6 minutes left on the call, so we'll try to answer as many questions as we can in that time.
Another great question is, can I continue to make edits after I submit my profile? Correct. But as of November 4th, the information that's put into the system is the information that's going to be exported from the system in order to create your profile on GiveMiamiDade.org. So please be aware that any changes you make after that date will most likely will not be on the page for Give Miami Dade. And that information that I'm talking about is very specific to the alias, the search words, things like that. If you want to make a change to your program, that's fine because that information will not be on the Give Miami Dade page. So GiveMiamiDade.org, once you get to that page on Give Miami Dade, you're going to be able to search for your organization. If donors want to see more about your profile other than your mission statement, your director, your executive director, your phone number, your website, they can go back to the website that's on the Miami Foundation site, and they're going to be able to view that information. But if you want to change any of your search words or your alias or your executive director after November 4th, that information is not going to be updated.
Somebody just asked, once again, said that they arrived to the webinar late, and they want to know how they could get a copy of the presentation. We want to remind you all that this presentation will be in the Nonprofit Toolkit on our website. And again, that's miamifoundation.org/nonprofit toolkit. You will also be able to access the slides from our first information session and any upcoming ones, as well as any other. You could download the Give Miami Dade logo there, and any other updates that we have related to Give Miami Dade will be posted in the toolkit. And the guidebook is there as well. So it seems we've answered all the questions in the webinar. Yes. So if you have any questions beyond this, please feel free to reach us. Again, the email address that we're using for questions about Blackbaud Nonprofit Central is info@miamifoundation.org. It really helps us streamline and make sure that we're getting back to everyone. But if you have any questions about any of our programming, feel free to reach either myself, Marianne, or Janelle. And again, our contact information is on our website. Thank you so much for participating.
Thank you.